I70 show.
I see it.
All right, we are back on this good Friday evening. How is everyone doing out there? Lots of nice blue wrenches. Tetsuyama 511 USMC Mom I saw out there as well, working the blue wrench. Who else we got out there? Q sent me, and of course, the best one out there, numero uno, Susie Odom. She's hanging out as well. Thank you very much for all your volunteer time. Bolinon as well is out there. And great. All right, I70. So how are you tonight, man?
Good, good.
Yeah, week is over.
Yeah, we made it to another Friday.
That is right. Sock Jockey, coach is in the house. Here we go. Laura Gold, Clay, lots of news. All right, bring me up to speed here, live chat. What has happened out there in breaking news today that we need to talk about here? All right. Another fellow Canadian Patriot out there, Tammy Zunbelt. Hello, how you doing? Happy Friday. It was my birthday yesterday. I got my birthday shirt on here, folks. Hope you guys like it. It's all good. All right, how you doing, Humi? Jim Hardle? Let's give a little roll call out here to folks out here. Eden's Vision, Wallflower Lady, Willful Thinking out there, Jim Hardle. Patriot Angel 7, and the Halfrey out there, Serena, Telenina Nears, Lee Co, BK Masterson. How you doing? Great to have you guys out here. How's your Friday evening going? My time, it is only 7 p.m. I am in mountain time, so it's still nice and light outside, although we've had a pretty rainy day. Although we've definitely needed the rain here because it's been a pretty dry spring so far. So it's definitely going to help all the crops and everybody who's already planted their vegetables in their gardens and flowers and whatnot. All right, BK Master, very cool, and a new haircut. Well, actually, I gave myself a little clip, so I was getting a little tired of what I was seeing there, and yeah, I was a little. So that's my self haircut there. So if it's anything good, then all right. That's funny.
All right.
11, how you doing from over across the pond there, halfway around the world from where I'm at? How are you tonight?
Looks like we've got quite a few out there in live chat.
Yeah, it's funny. You know, we've been talking about the numbers on the channel and whatnot recently, and you know what, how the show resets every day, right? Well, you know, and how everyone's been having difficulties either coming back on or even finding it and stuff like that. And sometimes what happens with me is I'm watching or I'm doing things and I'm not watching, just listening. And then the reset happens. So my screen or my browser ends up being on that last video that they basically that canceled at that time. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of times now what happens is before I go to actually refresh or restart or anything like that, that after a few minutes that video like ends and right away it says 45,800 some odd watched, right? Or some other number, but it's always a number in the tens of thousands. So how could it be that there's only 15 or 2,000 people watching the channel or whatever, but as soon as that thing that Pam has clicked off before it gets all sorted and the algorithm catches hold of it and all that, it shows actually a very large number. So I think, we could be, all the time here sitting with tens of thousands of people watching here, which would be more a long line with the subscribers that we have and whatnot. So That type of throttling does not work with us, YouTube. It's kind of getting boring. It's all getting boring. All their concern tactics and everything out there, and their division tactics and everything else is just getting all boring for us. We know what's coming. Just need to be patient. We were already in the first quarter, maybe not even the first half. Where are we? We're only on the 40-yard line, I think is what Q said was our last update, right? 1st and 10 on the 40. So we either got to go one large, long pass down there for a touchdown, or we're going to work our way here and beat them down yard by yard, get a first down again at the 30. I don't know. What do you think, I70?
Let's go for a bomb.
You like the bomb? It's only 40 yards, so it's not even that hard. Old Tom Brady probably do that blindfold on or something. Serena out there, happy birthday, Coach Clay, 25 years old, right? Yes. No, actually, I was 29 again. That's the one that I like there. It's 29. Yeah. But almost, no, I don't even want to tell you how old I am. Too old. Still feel really young, though, you know? You never feel younger than, I still feel as young as I was when I was 23. You know?
Yep.
The mind never really gets old in the sense, right? You know? All right. Susie Odenhauser, breaking the fight for America begins. Trump to invoke Insurrection Act that authorizes National Guard military action outside U.S. borders. All right. Good. Should come right on our border there, National Guard, and actually take down those UN flags that Mr. Trudeau has hanging over on our side there beside our Canadian flag, because that's a treasonous act right in itself. Kimberly Smith, thank you very much. All right, as well, Q Lives Matter. Where we go on, we go all. You guys out there in live chat are the nicest people out there. I know that's one thing that I think really draws people to this channel is the fact that we have welcoming patriots in here, but caring patriots, kind patriots. We're always looking out for each other. And yeah, it's just like hanging out with a bunch of my friends, really, right?
Roger that.
Yeah.
Anybody that wants to jump on the soapbox, jump in Discord, and Sosha's in there. She can get you moved up to the on deck, and we'll bring you on here when we pull calls in.
Colico Canada, Coach Clay, I'll be celebrating my 29th anniversary of my 40th birthday. Oh, wow. Well, that's kind of closer to what mine is out there.
Today's my 17th anniversary with my wife.
Oh, well, yes, that's right. Great. Good for you, buddy. And you got her some flowers, right?
Yep. All's well that ends well.
Yeah. Well, that's good, man. All right. Well, while we're waiting for some callers to jump on in Discord, by all means, guys, this is your time just as much as it's mine. It's your soapbox. That's what's so great about this central club of all patriots out there in internet land.
Looks like Deb,
let them talk.
Looks like Deb 65 has jumped in there.
Oh, awesome. Right on. Let's bring Deb up. It's great to have Deb. We should be looking out for Clarion as well. I think he was going to step on when he had a chance.
Awesome.
Yeah. You got some congrats going on out there in live chat for sure, I70.
Thank you, live chat. Bless you.
It's actually a long week.
How you doing, Deb? You got a 5x5?
I'm here and I'm doing great.
Good deal. We're about ready to jump into some Trump tweets, and you're welcome to ride along if you got a few minutes to hang out.
Oh, I got all night, but just want to say happy birthday, Coach Clay, and happy anniversary, I70.
Thank you, Deb. It's great to have you here on the show.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah. All right, let me find my page there again. Here we go. And yeah, let's bring us up to speed here with President Trump's tweets. Switch over here. Is that all good for you, I70?
Yep, looks good.
So it looks like he's been quite a busy man here.
Yes, he has.
Just 1 sec.
Yeah, let's see here. So he's going to go ahead and pull that up here in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and see what's going on in live chat.
Here we are. Just got to click the right buttons there. Sorry.
Good.
There we are. All right. Looks like, yeah, he's been a busy man here. There it is. I had scrolled it here. 15 hours ago, I think it was. It starts here. I'm going to bring this up larger. 3:36 a.m. my time. President Trump tweets out to you, the Democrats now realize that there is a national emergency at the border and that if we work together, it can be immediately fixed. We need Democrat votes and all will be well. Yeah.
Just spelling it out one more time.
Hey, you wait
needs to happen.
Yeah. You wait people out, they all start following along. That's how you get a deal. You get leverage, and then you wait for them to all come and asking for a deal. Yeah, 3:44 a.m. Border Patrol is apprehending record numbers of people at the southern border. The bad hombres, of which there are many, are being detained and will be sent home. Those which we release under the ridiculous catch and release loophole are being registered and will be removed later. Wow.
Yeah.
Why does he always have spelling mistakes? He can't. He's got to be really stupid to always be having spelling mistakes, doesn't he?
Where's the mistake in this one?
Well,
Where's that?
It's right here. I think it should be a R instead of the T.
Gotcha.
Right? But
Yeah.
yes, of course, folks. Right? I mean, that's what some of these, people with Trump derangement syndrome just start barking out that, how possibly could he be smart and make a spelling mistake? Well, because he did it on purpose. Yeah. People are getting boring. Yes. So I wonder what that means. Taking that R, I guess the guys will be getting going on some of that gematria. Very cool.
3 spaces. Interesting.
Where was that? Sorry, I'll pull that up again.
No, it's 3 from R to T is 3 spaces.
No, it's just 1 over on my keyboard. R to T at the top.
Oh no, I'm talking about QRST.
Right. I see. If you were doing it on a keyboard and you just spelt it wrong, it was because the R is right beside the T, right? But anyway, or you potentially it's different if you're doing it on your phone. But yeah, that's definitely some gematria there, guys. What else we got here? All right, 3:51 a.m. President Trump tweets: all people that are illegally coming into the country or in the United States now will be removed from our country at a later date as we build up our removal forces and as the laws are changed. Please do not make yourselves too comfortable. You will be leaving soon.
Wow.
It's kind of like that. You're fired.
Yeah.
Over the wall.
That's funny.
Yeah. All right. So tell us, live chat, what exactly was that they passed at the border? Was there a specific bill or something like that they went through, or there's...
I think he's talking about the changes they were talking about between him and Lindsey.
Okay. I'm not too up on that news yet.
Yeah, Lindsey Graham offered some changes to the and willing to work with the Dems on DACA, just get something done.
I see. Okay.
He basically said that he will wheel and deal, just come to the table.
Right.
I don't even think they're going to go to the table.
No, they don't know what to do. They're a bunch of chickens with their heads chopped off right now, running around, skewering, running, going, looking for help.
Yep.
Bulling on over the wall. All right, 3:53 a.m. President Trump tweets, will the Democrats give our country a badly needed immigration win before the election? Good chance. What do you think, Deb? What's your take on what's going on at the wall there?
Well, if half of them end up in jail, and we get new people in, he's got a good chance of making a deal.
Right. Good point. All right, and looks like I can talk about that later there. Next one here, 14 hours ago, 3:58 a.m. Quote from @Fox and Friends: "What happened is that Donald Trump won. Down goes Comey." Down goes Comey and all of his cronies. Should have added that. One by one. I'm in a great mood here tonight, folks. It's always good to be winning, right?
Yep.
Don't ever think that Patriots are not in control. All right, 4 a.m. 4 a.m. talking point: Donald Trump drained the swamp. And he is draining the swamp, right? One thing interesting I'd like to ask you guys just came to my mind about it in terms of the draining. We've had numerous, or not numerous, but we've definitely had a couple of posts that included, as we know, the lists of former DOJ and FBI people who have been fired, forced, resigned, etc. Right? Why have we not seen a list of CIA that have been fired, forced, resigned? That, or am I just thinking there is one, but I'm just not remembering it? Live chat, what are your thoughts? What do you guys think? I70, Deb, do you guys remember? Is there a list of fired CIA? Because that's the list that should be the longest, if you ask me, right? There should be a review on every single CIA analyst out there. How many employees are there? 25,000?
Well, you're assuming that he has his ending
well, my point,
swamp person in there right now, and I don't think
right. Well, my point being is okay, that's a good point. We haven't seen the list yet of CIA, but is there a reason for that? Why haven't we?
Yeah, because I think she's, I don't know. I haven't got a take on her. I'm not sure she's 100%, mega. But that's just my guess.
Yeah.
I really can't remember. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Deb.
I was just going to say, I just don't remember. It seemed like there was a list with a combination of everybody, but I could be wrong. Yeah. But it's been like months ago, so.
Eyes of Texas out there says Brennan was CIA, lost his security clearance. Well, yeah, that ain't enough.
Some dude said that a lot of them that they have other jobs, so that's just kind of they won't put them out on Front Street because they're actually working in other jobs. Or once you're in the CIA, you're never really out of the CIA.
Teresa B out there, another Canadian Patriot there, says maybe once Brennan goes down, we will see the CIA list. That's a possibility. Yeah, good point. Mm-hmm. I've just always wondered that we saw the big list of DOJ that have, and all the talk of right now, even in mainstream media or whatever, is about FBI and DOJ, but there's not any speak of these CIA clowns other than what we've kind of been talking about in separate posts, but we've never got on a list like that. I just thought about that. Anyway, go on here.
Yep.
All right. 4:01 a.m. President Trump says, sorry, make America great again, in all caps. And still looks below here like Mr. Jack is playing games, letting the Krakenstein boys get up there, get their pay. Right at the top of the comment list. It's amazing. Nothing going on there, though, guys. No.
Yeah, that guy's up at 4:01 a.m.
Right after him. Bam, 4:01. He's sleeping, and then That's what happens. He's just sleeping, and his alarm goes off. Oh, it's a President Trump tweet. Mr. Trump, you're so bad. Oh my gosh, Orange Man bad. Oh, put it back down. Go to bed again.
Yeah, wait for the next one.
Oh, Mr.
Krasenstein.
It's like the even what they have to play with like this, putting these guys at the top just so there's negative comments on his tweets. Like, what is that doing? You're not winning, Jack. You're not winning. Oh. All right, 4:05 a.m. Mr. President Trump tweets, new Fox poll. 58% of people say that the FBI broke the law in investigating Donald J. Trump at Fox and Friends. Well, that number is going to go increasingly up every day. 59, 60%. Eventually, everyone is going to have to understand the truth. Yep. Hey, shout out to Best Naughty Ever. Thank you very much. Right. Man, he was a busy man there early in the morning there. Another one, 4:11 a.m. Tweet out here. My campaign for president was conclusively spied on. Nothing like this has ever happened in American politics, world politics. It's never happened in world politics, what's going on right now. A real bad situation. Treason means long jail sentences, and this was treason. I think we're in this time of I don't know what we could call it, or if we want to even name it anything, but
pre-climax.
Yeah, the normies, the people who are that shell shocked with conditional bias, it takes them more than one time to get something through their brain. So we're in this time where I think the word even of treason needs to come back into their brain of what that really means, right? Their only thing of treason that they've had is through movies or old history action movies of whatever, spy movies. So this is real life, folks, and this really happened. They never thought she would lose. Oh, wow. It's amazing.
Captain Liberty has now joined us in the round table.
Wow. Welcome to the show, Captain Liberty. I was actually thinking of you just this afternoon.
Oh, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Coach 70, it's good to speak with you again. And I believe Deb's here with us too, isn't she?
She is.
Yep.
Well, hi to all of you.
Awesome.
Yeah, I had thought that it was it's been a while since you had come on the show, so that's what I was thinking this afternoon, and possibly maybe you had already thought about it. You sent that that energy out into the universe, or possibly maybe the other way. But it's great to have you here, sir.
Well, strange as it may seem, I was thinking about you gentlemen today and wondering if you guys would be on this evening, and sure enough, you are.
That's great. Awesome. That's great Friday evening. All right. Well, looks like we've got some more President Trump tweets here. So by all means, jump in there, Deb or Captain Liberty, if you have any commentary. So next one here at 5:16 a.m. says, will Jerry Nadler ever look into the fact that Crooked Hillary deleted and acid washed 33,000 emails after, in all caps, getting a most powerful demand notice from them for them from Congress? Wow. Oh, it's great. What do you think about that one, Captain Liberty?
Oh, you don't want me to really tell you what's going through my head, but it's indicative of what we have come to expect from people like him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's it's even to me, it's almost a little strange that he's kind of stuck his neck out there in terms of throwing it out on the line. There's only a few of them left now that are really sticking their necks out there. I don't know. He must have something to lose. He must have something to lose, huh?
I have a question. Do you think that all of these Democrats who are jumping on the run for president bandwagon really think that announcing candidacy is going to immunize them from possibly being arrested?
I really think they do.
Someone must have told them. I think, like, maybe this will work. Like this is what they've got to try, right?
I think it's like plan F, but got to try something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I hope there's a meme maker out there who can put together a meme of a whole bunch of buses lined up at the terminal, and then maybe use some good old Times New Roman type under it to say, buses lined up to take Democrat presidential candidates to their first debate. Members of their staff and members of the press have been asked to please secure alternative transportation.
Yeah. Little Galaxy 56 out there in live chat says candidates are raising lawyers' fees. Well, here's a question for you, Captain Liberty, in retort to your comment or your question. These 20 or 22 candidates now, if that's what the number is, before they even get down to the one who is going to challenge President Trump, do they all not have to get up on stage and talk about each other?
There's 23, but...
23? I mean, so aren't all of them going, my point being, isn't all of them having to go up in some of these Democratic debates and basically negatively say things about each other, which are all going to be about the things that they're all going to be going down for? So it's a very, very weird circle right now, I think, in that Democratic political...
Judging how the DNC operates, they'll probably tell them about 45 minutes before the show time that only 10 of them are going to actually be on stage, and it'll be the 10 establishment, and anybody else can, we're just going to escort you out of the building.
It's reminiscent of the old Will Rogers quote where he said, "I belong to no organized political group. I'm a Democrat."
Yeah.
I like that.
Qualico Canada out there says the debates are going to be awesome popcorn movie. Yeah, it should be entertaining at least just to see them all fumble.
Make sure you have your butter for the popcorn too.
Yes, you got to have butter on that popcorn. Makes it so much better, doesn't it? Sure.
I have a question.
Happy belated birthday. My birthday is Sunday. Okay, just wanted to give her a shout out there. Happy birthday to Cheryl Michaels on Sunday if you're not around. Nice. Go ahead there, Captain Liberty.
Do you think it will be a circular firing squad, or will they be up there trying to out-socialist each other? I mean, either that or it will be a Pelosi Brown Street slinging contest, you know?
I think each day...
I'm not sure.
I think each day we're going to wake up and wonder which one is not actually in the running anymore because they're at Gitmo.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is there? I think the amount of people that have, or sorry, not the amount of people, but the amount of upgrades that we have seen and the money that we know of is put down into expanding Gitmo. Don't you think that there's going to be a select amount of people that are going to spend at least a fair amount of time there, and that's the reason why they did that? Or do you, it couldn't just be for, general repairs?
Quite honestly, when de Blasio announced that he was running, I laughed out loud.
Oh, well, I left this one up here just because it's like, I don't know, this 33,000 acid watched. That's when they did the bleach bit? Is that what they call that?
Yep. That's what they call it.
That's what they call it.
It writes mass quantities of ones and zeros over the data so that you can't go back and retrieve it using any of the good old mil-spec techniques.
Excuse me. All right. Well, let's go up to the next one here. A little sip of coffee there while I dope down.
I'll read it if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
The fake news media is hurting our country with its fraudulent and highly inaccurate coverage of Iran. It is scattershot, poorly sourced, made up, and dangerous. At least Iran doesn't know what to think, which at this point may very well be a good thing. Funny.
Yeah. It's interesting. Is President Trump's vocabulary, I'm sure, is quite in depth, and he's never really used the word scattershot before in my memory. Right? He pulls words out when he really needs to or wants to make an emphasis on something.
Yeah, that's the same one. That's crazy though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, I think, and the we're seeing that word Iran come up as well. We're seeing certain words, as I was mentioning a few tweets back here. We're seeing him put out treason. We're seeing the Iran thing. We're seeing these words that come up that are, what obviously the plan is focusing upon at this point in time in it.
To this point, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Captain Liberty.
I was just going to say that to this point, our dear president has been very selective about using the word treason. However, in this particular case, he was quite specific.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. All right, at 7:35 a.m. here. POTUS tweets out, it now seems that General Flynn was under investigation long before was common knowledge. It would have been impossible for me to know this, but if that was the case, and with me being one of two people who would become president, why was I not told so that I could make a change?
Because they couldn't set you up if they told you and you made a change.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't fit the narrative.
Yeah, and it's been quite a while since President Trump has tweeted about General Flynn. So that, again, I think is notable.
Yep.
Right? As if anyone on the channel that is not familiar with, the Q movement, but is coming on just to the Patriots soapbox, as we all know, President Trump is who posts on the Q board as Q+, being the guy in charge. Yeah, so when we don't have Q posts, we always have Q+ posts to go over. So that's what's really cool. Right.
Righty. Next one.
From time to time, I find myself looking for what I call Trump proofs, where he will say something that harkens back to Q. And this is as opposed to Q saying something that indicates a closeness to the Oval Office. When Q says it, we call it a Q proof. When our president says it, I tend to think of it as a Trump proof.
Yeah, I kind of do that too. I know what you're talking about. I'll read this one here. Go ahead, Deb.
Well, when you get done with the Twitter, President Trump's Twitter, go to General Flynn's Twitter page. He's changed his banner. I think it's pretty telling.
Will do.
Okay. Very cool.
All righty. Came in at 9:53 a.m. with all the fake news, with all the fake and made up news out there, Iran can have no idea what is actually going on. Yeah, I was just thinking about this myself. They've got to be on high alert because they're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
the toaster oven. I think they're bringing the toaster.
But the news narrative is that they're still, the deep state's still pushing for war. That's what they're still aiming for. So whatever they can do to agitate the situation, they will.
Yeah.
There has already been some mainstream scuttlebutt that it wasn't the Iranians who sabotaged the tankers. I was rather surprised at hearing that.
Interesting.
No, that would have been the deep state that did that to try to draw Saudi Arabia into the conflict with Iran. Who I think did it.
It was referred to as other influences, I think, was the term that was used at the time I heard the story.
Well, a couple more here just to bring us up to date. 6 hours ago, President Trump tweets, "Today it was my great honor to address the National Association of Realtors." Looks like there's an hour-long speech if people want to watch that later from the White House. Right on. So, that's one note there. I mean, not really thinking about it, but I know that, worldwide, but definitely in our country, in your country, we know that the housing market has happened since 2008. So maybe this is, part of next initiative that President Trump might have to fix your housing market down there. He's fixing everything else. All right, and the last tweet here came in 3:49 p.m. my time here, and it says, "Consumer sentiment in the month of May is at the highest in 15 years. Very nice," at Fox News. Oh, man. Just keeps getting better and better. Stop the share there for a quick sec.
You're right. He is fixing everything else. He may be. Going over to General Flynn's.
In a sec here. Yep, that's ready. All right. Just sent you.
I still think he needs a sign to hang on the door of the Oval Office that says, "We never close."
Just check your Zoom chat there, I70. And I'm going to click on the share here again, grab this over, and let's go over to, there it is. Pull that up. All right. So there's, you see my screen now, guys? I shared the screen.
Yeah. We'll talk about this for a minute here. I can grab that. That's, is that a sunrise or a sunset?
Hard to say. You're right.
Red at night, Shepherd's Delight. I would guess it's a sunset.
Mm-hmm. And Deb, 65, you were mentioning that he changed this today, or was this just recently?
I don't know, because I just when y'all were going over President Trump's Twitter about General Flynn, I just went over there just now. So and I think it's been at least a week when I last checked it. So, but I don't know. It looks like the figure is looking out towards the sunset or whatever. I don't know. It just strikes me as very
somber.
Patriotic. Memorial Day's kept getting ready to come up in 10 days. So we got Memorial Day coming up.
Almost looks like he's bringing the flag in.
Yeah.
It could be both.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, Eyes of Texas, Love America out there says we stand with General Flynn. That's true.
I agree.
Can't wait to actually for him to be able to speak as his mind, or and not be censored or have a gag order and all the other stuff that's going on. When is that again? His last sentencing was delayed again for
I think it's up to October sometime or November now.
They pushed it that far ahead
again. Last I heard was June. Did they move it to October now?
No, I don't know. I can't.
Confirmation from live chat here.
Live chat, help us.
Yeah. Tammy Zenbeld out there says, "At Coach Clay, Joe M has posted tonight very interesting thread on Merkel and what she's up to." I saw that. Yes, I think as we can see in the last few days too, I think President Trump has mentioned Germany a few times. So I think that's also kind of where the plan is leading towards right now as well in the background. Bullanon says 3-year gag order. Wow. Didn't know it was that long. Still not anyone out there in live chat confirmed. When is his next sentencing hearing? Does anyone out there know?
I have a question. Maybe live chat knows this as well. Can a gag order be lifted under presidential powers, or does it stand no matter what judge puts it upon the person?
Seems like if you were getting what's the word I'm looking for when he exonerates you?
Pardon.
Yeah, if you're getting pardoned, I think that would be part of it too.
A full pardon releases an individual from all responsibilities imposed by the court. For instance, what was the gentleman's name who was just pardoned by the president, who can now travel to the United States because part of his release involved something like a 30-year ban on his being able to go to the U.S.?
30-year ban, eh? Here's a question for you. Yeah, Hannah out there in live chat brings up Conrad Black, Canadian businessman. What do you guys figure about him?
That is who I was thinking of, and my poor little brain had just lost it.
Yeah, no problem. Well, Lord Black, he's also known out there, some dude says, yep. But in terms of that, do you think that is a strategic move in terms of when all that went down and stuff, I never really could take a good or decide on him with that, if he was a really bad guy or not. I mean, or not bad guy, but evil. Is he evil? He's obviously bad in the sense he did launder or screw over a bunch of people. Did he not?
Well, up until 2009, he headed the third largest news organization. And it's very possible that lifting those restrictions on his travel and such may be for the purpose of trading such a thing for information.
Right. It's definitely the way I hope it's going. I hope all the people who have information on the deep state characters just come clean and give it all up. Come to the good side.
Well, we do know there were people who were convicted and in some cases even, I guess you could say, died as a result of their convictions in the Enron debacle. So it's always possible, and on an outside level, that his conviction was also a setup. So we don't know, and we won't know probably for a while.
Yep. I'm thinking that live chat was telling me he can't really be pardoned until he's convicted also. So there is that. He is not convicted.
Well, Black was convicted in 2009.
Gotcha. I was talking about Flynn. Sorry.
Correct.
Black was actually convicted.
Yes, 2009, I believe, was the date of his conviction.
Live chat's kind of split on Black. They don't know. Some of them like him. Some of them don't like him. Some of them are split. I've never researched much on him. What line of business is he in? TV?
I believe his media organization was principally print, and people out there who know more than I do can probably correct me on that if I'm wrong.
Gotcha. All right, let's see here. I'm going to go over still the screen share. Hey, Deb, are you still with us?
I am.
All righty. Okay. Make sure I got a full room here still. And I've got live chat out here. What do you think the next step is as far as you think Monday or Tuesday, or do you think they'll wait till later in the week to declass? Think we'll get a present right off the bat, the first part of the week? And then, I mean, because I think it's going to be next week, don't you guys?
Well, I know.
At least something's coming out. I say D-glass is just like information coming out in general.
Yeah. They were saying earlier that Laura Ingraham said in the next 7 days. Personally, I think it's going to be towards the end of the week. You know, everything seems to drop on the weekends. So, and it being Memorial Day weekend, I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't come out until Friday. But now that I said that, it may be a different day.
Right now, the weekend. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, please.
So that would put it out the day before Memorial Day weekend, correct?
Well, next Friday goes into the Memorial Day weekend. So
right.
Yeah.
So it would be 3 days for people to talk about it.
Exactly.
That's a good point. That'd be kind of a good day to go.
Mm-hmm. Is there also an outside possibility that it could be just another move to see where the rats are going to scurry this time?
Yeah, it always can be that, it seems like. If I've learned anything.
You know, is a good example, Captain Liberty, of game theory, right? We do something, they react, and then we strategize and react to what their reaction is, which I think is happens a lot, especially when we have these people are so predictable in what they're going to do. You know.
Hey, Coach Clay, we got a new Comey tweet. Live chat's telling me.
Oh, okay. Let me jump over to there.
Curly Maple Bandit's giving me the info.
James Comey. Let's flip over there. Oh, all right. There it is.
Fresh.
9 minutes ago. Let me say this one out. The AG should stop sliming his own department. If there are bad facts, show us or search for them professionally and then tell us what you found. An AG must act like the leader of the Department of Justice, an organization based on truth. Donald Trump has enough spokespeople.
Yeah, just trying to tie him to Trump as a lackey for him.
From Comey's therapist's mouth to your ears.
Oh, Mr. Comey, tick tock, the time is going by. Right? What's one thing that I think is funny about some of these characters is the fact that part of them might not want to actually be going out, not necessarily on Twitter, but in these other interviews and in-face speaking things that they do, such as James Comey. But the mainstream media continues to want to have them on. So then they go back on there and then they incriminate themselves or they say something else that just makes them look even worse. Oh.
I still keep wondering how CNN and BSNBC's ratings stack up against the Comedy Channel.
Well, you mean in terms of viewership or in terms of humor?
Both.
Yeah. Well, the Comedy Channel used to be funny. There used to be good comics out there. You watch a lot of the stuff now, and you could go through most of the entertainment, definitely the media industry, but definitely throughout the comic industry, these people all owe President Trump everything, their careers. These comics, all that they've been doing for the last 2 years is making up jokes about Trump. So if they didn't have Trump around, what would they be doing? You can't come up with a good joke.
In all honesty, the liberal left, I must admit, every time I see one of those idiots in an interview, I am reminded of a Ron White quote. You can't fix stupid.
Yes, that is true. Yeah. I actually, stop the share there. I've actually been over the while, in my little side projects that I have. One of them is a book or a documentary. Not sure where it will eventually lead to, but it is on the subject of stupid, where I've basically created up to, I've got eight categories of stupid right now created.
It gives a whole new meaning to you have the right to remain silent.
Yes, well, part of the problem too is not just that are people that are stupid, but a lot of people they listen, but they don't actually hear. There's that one type of personality or person who, as you well, I'm sure everyone has had the experience of an interrupter, right? Where they're constantly interrupting your sentences or what you're talking about. They're either trying to end your sentence that you're talking, or they just blatantly want to retort back with what they have. And that person is interesting in the sense that they themselves, because how the mind works, and you actually have to think about what you're going to say before you say it. So they've actually stopped listening to you to be able to contemplate what they're going to say, to be able to interrupt you that quickly. And so I run into that a lot. John Wallow, got Coach Clay, duct tape fixes stupid. You just have to go in the nose.
Good to know. Good to know.
Tiliano Neve says, so click your book is going to be with Democrats. Yeah. Well, no, it's just that what I found with stupid is that stupid is what slows me down in life. Okay, for example,
it knows no bounds.
When you were out in the matrix and you're doing things, you have for myself, I have a specific, plan set forth, even direction and the way I'm going to take and the things I'm going to get and purpose, and then I'm going to get back out of the matrix to my house or whatever, so I can do what I want to do. Whereas it seems where I run out in there and I'm in the matrix, that's where I run into these different categories of stupid who are, for example, the very lowest category of stupid is the attention to detail stupid. Okay, that's like when I go over to visit my father in a small town and there's a Dairy Queen there, well, I used to always go get him a milkshake, okay? And he likes a banana strawberry milkshake. That's the only one he likes, right? Well, I'll tell you, every single time you order that, you never get, right? Banana strawberry. But that's just, you can't deal with it. That's what it is. It is what it is when you go to those places, right? But it's attention to detail. But the next category is that category of spatial awareness. Okay, what's happening in my bubble of aura here around me? And people are out there, you run into them right away. As soon as you get down 3 blocks from your house, you got someone who's driving who has no urgency and really doesn't even know what they're doing. No spatial awareness. And then beyond that is that situational awareness, where people have totally lacked that in the last 5 to 8 years, of what's going on, not just in their little circle, but what's going on with the people around them. I'll go and open up, going into a store, as I always have and always will. I open up the door for somebody, and people now, what do? They just walk through. They don't even say, half the time, they don't even say thank you, or, oh, yeah, have a great day, or anything. No, it's just, what? Just no situational or spatial awareness. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Coach, you just touched on something that is taught in martial arts. In Japanese martial arts, there are 2 principles that at first may seem contradictory to each other. They are kime and zanshin. One is the awareness of everything going on around you, and the other is the ability to focus on one point. Now, you would think that those 2 concepts are diametrically opposed, but actually, if one keeps both in mind at the same time, then they have that ability that you were talking about that so many people are missing.
Yep. Hey, I have brought Clarion and Drunken Pinata into the roundtable room.
All right.
Hello, guys.
Hey, guys.
Welcome to the show. Have you guys been listening? Do you have any comments on our last topic?
Yeah, I had 2 comments. Number 1, was that your father or father-in-law that
No, it was my father, yeah.
Well, he should be, maybe you should consider getting him a Buster Bar. They still have those?
The Dilly Bar is what they have, I think, yeah.
Or upgrade him to a Blizzard.
Yeah.
Second thing I wanted to say is you're talking about people that need to think before they speak or something along those lines. That is some sage advice for James Baker. I mean, I just saw a clip about 45 minutes ago, him on with Chuck Todd. And incidentally, Chuck Todd is something like a character on a central casting. It is unbelievable. But at any rate, it's just, these guys are, the best thing they can do is just stop talking, get off the dais and just go home and start divesting. It is unbelievable what's happening out there. And it's all the plans all coming together, isn't it?
I definitely think so. Yeah. Situational awareness and focus. Yes.
Seems like it's moving along at a pretty good pace right now.
I would have to say that the pace car is moving them at a pretty good pace, and wait till the pace car goes off track and this thing just winds up full bore. It is really something what's happening, and what's coming back into our discussion is Robert Mueller's past in Boston, and as well as former prosecutor Patrick Fitzgerald. And I don't think it's just coincidence or happenstance that Fitzgerald is repping Comey. Isn't that interesting?
Very.
Well, Rosenstein isn't squeaky clean either.
No, but I think he perhaps has kind of seen the light, so to speak.
The hardest thing that I have with Rosenstein is how they handle that relationship with his wife. I mean, we all know the type of work that she's done in the past. It's like, it's really hard to reconcile anything good that Rosenstein does right now with who he's married to.
I read Cyril Brain 2's article from a few days ago. It kind of changed my mind. Well, not changed my mind, but it kind of solidified my mind a little bit more in terms of them all just being bad characters and have been used to their maximum potential as POTUS has needed to along the way. But other than that, they're going to go down for their crimes. That's the way I see it here.
It's like every week, a lot of people keep changing their positions. I think about probably like 6 months ago, I just gave that up because we're never going to know until it all shakes out. We really won't. And that's the beauty of it.
Right. Looks like we got another Comey tweet here from a few minutes ago. I'll pull it up here quickly for us guys to comment on. It says, the president claiming the FBI's investigation was treason, in quotations, reminds me that a Russian once said, in quote, a lie told often enough becomes the truth. That shouldn't happen in America. Who will stand up, he says.
I believe that original quote was from Adolf Hitler's propaganda minister, Joseph Goebbels, in 1933.
Right. Exactly.
Well, I guess collusion wouldn't, and Russian collusion wouldn't fit into that at all, right?
So more fake news generated out of Comey. Isn't that interesting? The progenitor of fake news can't even get his own line straight because it originally came that was German propaganda, the Nazis. But who's keeping track?
At this point, I mean, how can you what these guys, these other guys, but how can he not know that he's in trouble? Why do these people continue to do this stuff? Do you think they're told, or just so that they can be part of the narrative still? You think at this point some of these people would be either trying to go to their bolt hole now or negotiating to never have to do that, right?
They have been role-playing for so long, I think that they are just unwilling to break character.
Yeah, more freedom, please. Out in live chat says, Comey still imagines he can gaslight people.
Well, that's just it. I mean, and what he's projecting upon President Trump is exactly because that actually does have, absolutely does not have merit, but it does have a certain amount of validity to it that you can create the narrative like they've done for 70 hundreds of years. And so he's continuing to do that. And there's so many people that are continuing to be dialed into the mainstream media and get their news from the mainstream media, be it print or be it the talk radio or be it, the television. But, that's what they're continuing to do. And I think that Comey has been perhaps his utility to the deep state is lessening every day, and he may have been cut loose. So, yeah, these guys are running around. There's not, I mean, imagine that, this huge world we have, they have such limited, their options are completely limited.
Well, think of the psychology. You have to. It's hard for us to imagine because we're not psychopaths. But if you look at the psychopathy of that, and those types of individuals, they literally think until the very last second that they're going to get away with it or they have an out. Like imagine if you've spent an entire lifetime like that. Right. It's hard for us to imagine that, like we're saying, why aren't they doing something? Why? Because they literally think that they're just going to get away with it.
The place where I think that they have really screwed up is they were following the Joseph Goebbels model that was given to all of the people in the press and those who broadcast on radio. His model was that 90% of what they report should be the truth, but the other 10% should be the vision of the Fuhrer. Now, where they have screwed up is they've now made almost 90% the vision of their Fuhrer and only 10% based on the truth. So they have totally deviated from the plan laid out by a brilliant psychopath, and now they're following a model that seems to have been created by a really foolish and stupid psychopath.
Well, that's some insight, Captain Liberty, because they've unfortunately for them adjusted for inflation in that model, and it's not yielding the results that they had desired. I mean, it had yielded results until recently, right? And that's why it's taken 2 years. If you just look at the plan, the Q's plan, it's taken 2 years plus, right, to get the base. We have the likes of this roundtable. We have Patriots Soapbox as a platform. We have Twitter now. We have so many, basically now that have woken up. And it has taken a footprint of 2 years to get to that point. And we still have a long ways to go. But it's interesting too, right? That you go back and I didn't realize this, that the Patriots that fought in the Revolutionary War, the true Patriots, what percentage of the general population? It was a limited percentage of the population.
3.5%.
Yeah, isn't that something?
If I may, I'll bring this up while you're kind of on the subject of the plan and the time it's taken there. This was from Joe M's Twitter feed today, his meme here. So here it was 1913. Criminals hijacked our money system, occupied U.S. When they did that, it was worldwide. They forced at that 1913 for all of the countries, including mine, Australia, France, etc., to take the same system of central banking. So that was the same moment for all of us here. Occupied U.S. covertly through debt slavery and infiltrated our government and intelligence agencies. And then they had World War I and II and Vietnam, the Middle East here, where slave presidents doing the bidding of the bankers, fulfilling their globalist vision to deplete America through wars and economic decline. And then here it is in 2016, and the World Trade Center, back here in time there, Saddam right before that. And then 2016, the people overthrew the banking tyrants and took back their republic. And then at the top here it says, this is the amount of time we've had to undo the whole mess.
Well, here's a thought about the historical part you just laid out. The country that did not adopt the global banking system was Russia. When Russia went through their quote-unquote revolution, much of that was pushed on Russia by, guess who? Certain bankers with a last name that translates to Red Shield. And they were the ones, of course, who had financed the development of what we now know as communism and socialism. After all, that little man didn't live on nothing while he was writing his Communist Manifesto. So we have to take into consideration that Vladimir Putin knows this about what the banking interests did to his country more than a century ago. And I wouldn't call him a white hat by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that he too despises those people almost as much as we do.
I think you're spot on with that, Captain Liberty. I mean, he kicked out all the Rothschild banks, and it really is something. He understands how the whole board is set up geopolitically, and he isn't, Russia is an ally to the extent that, what we're trying to do here. And, as a leader of your country, you have to have your country's best interests in mind. But imagine what we know, or imagine, what we don't know, knowing what we know, let me put it that way. all of the hijinks that have gone on, and the stuff behind the scenes that have probably gone on. It's really a fascinating time to be alive, isn't it?
Wouldn't you have loved to have been a fly on the wall in that first meeting between President Trump and Vladimir Putin?
Yeah. Yeah, or the last one, any of them, really.
Yeah, it is really something. I was just thinking about this earlier, that this plan is so ingenious with the, and it still continues to be a fluid plan, but the unknown variables are diminishing as far as the moves that are available for the deep state. But this plan is unfolding to such an extent, and just this harmonic way about it. So back in discussion now is Mueller. And it's going to continue. There's going to be a underscoring of that Mueller, what did he do when he was in Boston? And then you have Durham coming on board now, who is out of Connecticut, but he was brought in to clean up Boston years ago. I mean, they put several people in prison, and it was just patently wrong. And then they were in prison for 30 years. And that happened on Mueller's watch. And it was, Durham had, he was the one that basically was able to get the whole thing righted. But there's a lot that's going to be coming out. And I guess it's just amazing how this is coming out right at the appointed time.
I have been astounded to watch over the last 2 years how so many of those people who thought they were totally in control and totally on top of everything now are looking at each other wondering, is that person going to flip on me? So that dynamic has totally changed. They no longer know who's on their side and who isn't. So
that's right. That's right. Yeah, and it's kind of akin to to Iran. Iran doesn't know what to think.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, gentlemen. You talk about the Mueller investigation. Something Pastor Gary said yesterday got me to thinking, what if the Mueller investigation was part of the plan? I mean, think about it. While Mueller was doing all this investigation into President Trump and all of his associates and everything, it had something for the media to focus on, all the deep state to focus on, and to spin the narrative. But look at what's happened behind the scenes. It's like the Mueller investigation was the mirror. And because you had, A.G. Sessions, he was appointing all these prosecutors, Horowitz, Huber, they were working in the background. He broke up so many of the human trafficking rings. So it just kind of makes, to me, it just puts a whole different light on the Mueller report. I know people say it was 2 years, but do you think that they like Horowitz, Huber, they could have done what they needed to do if they were under the scrutiny of the media this whole time?
I think you can look at it both ways, because you could say, did they want them to do that? Probably, just like for the reasons you just stated. But you could also argue both ways, that they're allowing, they kept pushing like, oh, we're going to fire Mueller, or we're not going to fire Mueller. So they kept driving the public interest into a way that made them drag it out, even beyond what Comey or what Mueller had to know, was that there was no collusion. So beyond that, I think they just kept, even if they were part of it, or if Mueller was part of it or not part of it, they still needed to draw it out. Again, reiterating for the reasons you just stated. So I think you can kind of look at it both ways, and I think that's part of that game theory that they.
Yeah, Yeah,
Well, and
the game theory would have, with the quantum computing, would have shown them the outputs of that Mueller report being all positive, or all in the way that they needed it to be, type of thing. So I think that you have a good point, Deb, and in that respect, that they had, for lack of a better term, they've been manipulating these bad characters along the way as they've needed to with game theory. To have the narrative change when they needed to, or to get this accomplished when they needed to do that.
You have hit the point exactly, because look here, don't look over there is a game that two can play at. But the plan has done it in such a way that they've let the black hats be the ones who have been manipulating the look here, don't look over there. And in the meantime, it has been used to the advantage of the plan.
All right. Well, and so, that made the deep state spend their well, I know Q says ammunition, but they basically used up all their, most of their money. They had almost unlimited resources.
Right.
So
yeah, they did need time after implementing that executive order on corruption to be able to get the assets, freeze or seize the assets, the offshore accounts, et cetera, from these characters. There's been a couple of times where President Trump has tweeted about Tom Steyer, saying that he's running out of money. He won't be lasting long because of these running out of money. Well, he was a billionaire, so where did that go?
Exactly.
Yep.
I'll be back in a moment. I need to dump a phone call. I will mute in the meantime.
Sounds good, sir.
Sounds like a euphemism, something else.
So yeah, what else is going on in your world there today, Clarion?
Well, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and I tell you what, time is just clipping by. I don't know, is anyone else out there in chat or roundtable? Monday through Friday has gone, and we've always talked about how time's speeding up, but I tell you what, last 4 weeks, if going from Monday to Friday is just like going from 0 to 60 in about 2 seconds. Does anyone else kind of feel that?
Nope, I agree with you. It's hard for us, I think, as humans, because we've made up this man-made time. So even though our bodies, just like all the other animals out there, are experiencing the energy of the universe, the frequencies and vibrations go through us and within us as we go through it, which in itself, quantumly, speed of time could be going faster than man's strict 24-hour time. And that's why we have that feeling that people get that, it's already the 17th of May. Wow, we're going to be 6 months through this year soon. Like, it's crazy how fast time's going. Yes.
Yeah, I think there is something to that. There's something so spectacular that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're at the top of the roller coaster in the last couple clicks.
Yep, exactly. I70. There's something that
plunge down.
Yeah, we have Monday through Friday. We have 24 hours in a day, but there's something that is.
Coach, you hear me?
Yeah, we got you, I70.
Oh.
I70s can't hear us, I think, but we got him.
All right, got
you. Got me there? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Clarion. Go ahead.
He's back on full duplex. Hey, hi. No, there's something that is going on where we are speeding up to a singularity. And I don't mean singularity in how most people use it, but we're speeding towards a singularity of truth. There's just something that is supernaturally happening.
Well, here, to that point, Clarion, the question for you is that singularity of truth, as you mentioned, or for lack of a better term of it, is or would that not be or could be when we attain a higher level or greater level of consciousness? And by that, I just mean think of the amount of positive energy that has been more put out in the world since not just President Trump, but the effects of all of this happening over the last 2 years worldwide, all the people that it's affected in a positive way, their feelings about it are going out into energy, their thoughts. Thoughts are energy. It's not just a thought in your head. It does go somewhere. It goes out into the collective consciousness. And that's what I'm saying is I agree with you. It feels like now that we've had this positiveness start to push forward, we just need for lack of a better term, that collective mass or whatever, the critical mass of the collective consciousness to actually achieve, greater awakening to the truth. Because once all the truth is out there, we can now move forward into other things that we have not been able to focus on because we have been stagnated by these deep state characters for decades or centuries, in fact, right?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds, I agree with you when we talk about it in these terms. It sometimes at first blush, it's like, well, this sounds like some kind of Timothy Leary, preamble to his thesis or something, but there is something, you're right, the frequencies and things like that. And it's not apart from the Christian narrative, but it's a reality, just the frequencies of sound, and the deep state has even perverted that. It goes back to 70 years ago, from the megahertz, and from like 444 to 432, and you can go back into the King David, and most of the Psalms are written by King David, most of them. And so there's a certain, frequency of the songs that, King David would play. And, it's just on the harp. And it's just amazing as we, become more aware. There's just so much that it just, the truth is being revealed, and it's just a fantastic time to be alive. I don't know, what does chat have to say about this? What are they chiming in with?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys are speaking my language with this vibration stuff. You guys happen to be familiar with the Q factor,
right? Okay.
It's an actual term dealing with harmonics and vibration, and I find it no accident. It's the Q movement has kind of dialed into kind of amplify the general resonance. What you're talking about, Coach Clay, of everybody coming in, and we're at a precipice where we're about to take two opposing waves and almost put them together to double that amplitude into a new paradigm. And that's kind of what I think in my mind, that's what I was thinking of when you were talking about that.
You hit the nail on the head, Clarion.
Because you're going to have these two timelines basically are going to come together where truth will prevail.
That was Drunken Pinata.
He's
for live chat. Yeah, just so everybody knows who's talking.
Yeah.
Right now in the room we have Clarion, Drunken Pinata, Captain Liberty, Deb 65, Coach Clay, and I70 Paintball.
Yeah.
By the way, Clarion, do you know who it was that instigated the change that caused almost every symphony in the world to switch from 432 to 444 and A?
Probably had a German surname.
Like Goebbels?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So there's definitely something to it. And I know it all sounds together like pie in the sky and this, kind of weird out there metaphysical, but as the truth is increasingly revealed, or realizing these type of things, that like there really is something to this. And again, it's not it does not counteract anything to do with Christianity. It's just a reality of the physicality of things in our world, put it that way.
Yes, our senses are very limited. That's what some people are very the opposite. All that they think about, if I can't see it, it's not there. It's not possible to be happening or something like that. I don't believe it unless I see it. But our senses, our senses of touch, of sight, of hearing are very limited, even compared to other animals that are out here in our same realm. So, for example, if our eyes could see on different frequencies, for example, X-ray or whatever type of thing, different wavelength, we could potentially see all kinds of different things. It is because of the way that our senses are that we get to see and experience the things in solid form. That's one of the benefits of it, that we're basically on the cutting edge of consciousness, because we're the only life form right now that we can see that is in physical form. There might be many other things that we can't see or feel or touch out there. The saying, if a tree falls down in the forest and there's no one there to hear it, does it still make a sound? No, it doesn't. All it does is make a vibration. It's only when there is a vibrational receptor, like my ear, that translates that vibration into an actual sound, do I actually hear it as a sound and not just feel it as a vibration. So, I mean, there's just one example of it.
Coach, were you aware that the pineal body, which is that little thing, back there in the middle of your head, did you know that it contains rods and cones, which are the same cells that in your eyes detect light and color? The pineal body is the only other part of the body that also contains rods and cones. Now, why would the deep state people want fluoride put into the water, which causes a hardening of the pineal body? Think about it.
It's a form of mental blindness, essentially.
Well, fluoride also, it does numerous things, including what you're talking about, Captain Liberty. It also acts, because of the type of toxin it is, it actually acts as a catalyst. It enhances other metals that are in or chemicals that are in the mixture. So when the aluminums and the bronchiums and the strontiums come down from the sky and mix into the water, and the fluoride that's in the water, that fluoride actually makes that aluminum even more toxic. So there's another example.
Right, and if you're aware of what that does to neural growth and intercommunication, especially what it does to the glial cells.
Yep. Right into our frontal lobe.
Why they're poisoning us with that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And actually, the glial cells, I think it was Discover Magazine, I don't know, about 20 years ago, did a piece on that. And that's essentially what really makes you sharp, because the receptors are able to pick up and distribute that much quicker. That's why Einstein had the IQ that he had, because they kind of postulated he had a lot of glial cells. But that's exactly what they want to do, is they want to turn people remember that movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and Sean Penn's character, "Hey, Mr. Hahn, back."
Love that movie. Spicoli.
Everyone's just like, oh.
Yeah. What about it? You got problems with Spicoli?
Yeah, I mean, no. Bro. Yeah. They just want everyone just kind of not to be so sharp, man. They want you to be obtuse and just whatever, man.
Go with the flow.
Hey, yeah. They've legalized marijuana here in the country, in Canada here, and by all means, it's not. People think, it's because it's all this. It isn't. I mean, George Soros, part of his plan is to implement marijuana everywhere, and part of that reason is there's that potential percentage of the population that uses marijuana, and it does dumb them down, just like you're talking about. Now, that's not everybody that uses it. It doesn't affect them like that, but some of them does. And so there's a great thing for them to be able to implement and to affect that point of the population. We'll get those other smarter people that it doesn't affect that way in a different way, but you know what I mean? Many faceted attack that they've been attacking our bodies and our environment with over the decades.
Well, they're trying to turn us all into Beavis and Buttigieg.
Oh, did anyone see any of that coverage? Or I think, I usually don't. Sometimes I watch Jimmy Dore just because I love they get this guy that does these prank phone calls, and the guy's a really good voice impressions. But apparently, Booty Guy was questioned that he looked like the Mad Magazine Alfred E. Newman, and he just pretended to not know who that was at all, even though he's clearly in the age bracket for that.
No, he's not. I don't think he is. You think he is?
Sure he is. Oh, yeah. He's like, what, 35, 36? I had Mad magazines growing up.
Yeah, he's 37, I guess, is what I heard. Huh.
Yeah. Mad Magazine's been around forever.
He might not have liked the comparison.
I think they were founded in 1952.
Is that long, eh? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Super old.
Mm-hmm. And they've been running the same format just about ever since. And it's still funny.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's brilliance and simplicity. I tell you.
That was my first introduction to true satire.
It was probably for a lot of people, really.
Yeah, I remember looking at it like, I just don't get this one right here a couple times when I was young.
And then you go back and look at it and go, how did I miss that?
Yep.
Well, guys.
Well, also in the news, I'm glad to see that President Trump basically what did he pardon Conrad Black, and Conrad Black was, and again, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. There's so much that's coming out. One of the prosecutors was, I believe, what's his name, from Patrick, the gentleman from, it's been a long week, even though a quick week. The prosecutor I was talking about from the East Coast that is now representing Comey. But at any rate, he had originally prosecuted Conrad Black, and a lot of it was overturned, and it was just this, overzealous prosecution, and it's just kind of the same obstruction, type of charges that they level against people, and it's just interesting that all of this is coming out. These people and their background and the history of how they manipulated the system. And it's just altogether fascinating that it's all coming out at the appointed time. And you can really see that there's been a delta change in how the plan and the offensive nature that it's taking.
Mm-hmm.
I think the day is fast coming when we will be telling more intermarriage jokes about Washington, D.C. than some people used to tell about Arkansas.
Yeah, perhaps. It was Patrick Fitzgerald. And so you're going to see his name, Patrick Fitzgerald, James Comey. You're going to see the history of, wait a minute, Patrick Fitzgerald was behind the original Conrad Black prosecution. And that was just overturned by President Trump.
Doesn't he have a boyfriend named Gerald Fitzpatrick?
Could be. Could be. And then you have, federal prosecutor Durham, who's, he is a solid attorney, and he turned around Boston and righted a lot of the wrongs. Years ago. And so it's just interesting. You have Bill Barr, and it wasn't just coincidence. Bill Barr is in El Salvador, which means the savior. And I believe, just my own conjecture, that was a signal for the participants and the players in the plan when Attorney General Barr is in El Salvador. I mean, you're seeing a lot of stuff. They communicate to each other, and you're seeing a lot of stuff that's happening. He gave that interview to Bill Hemmer from Fox, and so they're just coming out, right out and saying it. I mean, that, yeah, we're we got open prosecutions, and we're going to go to wherever this leads us. It's just something that in the span of a couple weeks, you really have a fine point put on this in terms of the offense.
Yeah, I agree. It feels like it won't be too much longer here before something, drops again that leads us on here forward.
And it's so absurd too, right? You see James Baker, again, going back to him on Chuck Todd's show, and even Chuck Todd is talking about, well, this seems really kind of, how do you square this, James Baker? You have a FBI informant, and then he's also within the Trump organization. How do you square that? And so stuff is coming out so obvious that it's so wrong that they really can't square it. They really can't provide any semblance of a justification for it. And that's part of what Q had been telling us all along as well, that you're not going to have the MSN at some point. It's going to hit critical mass where it's like, well, our credibility is so diminished. We can't, there's nowhere to even get a foothold in the crazy talk in trying to even, support something like this, because it's so patently obvious that it's so bogus. And I think we're fast heading toward that, because it is just unbelievable what is coming out and how they're trying to spin it. But where are they spinning it to? It's not taking any traction.
See, I thought they were going to go with the old, and start backtracking sooner. But I really think they're going to go with, oh my gosh, we were duped just like you. They're really going to do that. I think that's where I don't think they're going to try to backtrack. That's a little bit of CYA, what they were doing in that interview. And that's people on a personal level. But I think as an organizational, the way that they're going to operate is they're just going to act like it's some big event that, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this.
Well, if they do that, I expect one of them to use the line, oh my God, how could we have been so stupid? And President Trump to say something like, practice.
Because you're fake news.
I think we're starting to see some of that when you've got Brennan on one show going, no, it was Comey who did this or whatever, it was that. And then the other side, Comey's going, it was Brennan. And then you're going to see Clapper go, oh no, it was them, not me. It was Obama. Brennan saying, oh no, it was Obama administration who was spying, not me. So I think you're starting, your point there, Junker Pinata, is starting to happen in little ways already.
Well, Clapper had already said something about 6 or 7 months ago about, they wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for the Obama, or wasn't for President Obama.
That's right. He put down that little placeholder. That's a good point, Deb. He put that little placeholder down a while back, so when he needs it, he can pull it out to build upon that. But it really is fascinating. But you're going to start having all of this stuff come out. So this has all been primed, and then you're going to have all of the D-class come out one after the other, after the other, after the other, where it's going to be just, prima facie evidence. Like, well, wait a minute. This 302 was doctored. Well, wait a minute. The FISA application was misrepresented clearly. Well, wait a minute. So, for them, the media may be able to do, well, we were duped, but for anyone in the administration that had any hand on this, even directly or basically tangentially, right? They're not going to be able to say that. It's going to be like that line out of the movie Casablanca. Is like, there's gambling going on here. I'm shocked. There's gambling. Give me a break. And so all this stuff is coming out. The stage is being set, and boy, oh boy, when this Moab hits, it is just going to be Moab after Moab after Moab.
Hey, what's your guys' take on some of the chatter and some of the different analysts out there saying that the FISA abuses and that cover up was essentially an ultimate cover up of what they're calling the Hammer, which is like a spinoff like system with NSA capability. Yeah,
I was listening earlier. Daddy Dragon had brought that up. and how it was Brennan and Clapper who had created that apparently. And today, Maxine Waters slipped up and talked about it. Basically, it was kind of interesting for sure.
If you guys have ever seen the movie, the Hollywood movie, let me preface that Hollywood movie Snowden. If you haven't seen it, you really should see it just so you understand what the propaganda is and just to understand a little bit of the backstory. Because I'm sure there's a lot of truth that they just threw out there. You know how they like to throw all that out there just so that they can have their big stamp of approval okay from the ignorant masses. So I think it's a really good thing to watch. I kind of like started watching it and put it off for like a couple months, and then I was kind of kicking myself for not watching it sooner because I made a lot of other things that Q talks about really kind of cement in place, especially dealing with the subject of Snowden.
What
one of the projects he was working on was something similar to that.
What movie was it called again?
Just Snowden.
Oh, the Snowden movie. Yeah.
This entire plot is so complicated. We soapbox people get it immediately because we've been saturating ourselves in this information now for quite some time. And like me, I frequently forget that what I have been exposed to is not common knowledge for the average person on the street. So this information is having to be fed to them a piece at a time and then dwelled on for a piece of it at a time until it gets firmly implanted into their consciousness. So when we get impatient waiting for this and this and this to happen, keep in mind that it's having to be dribbled out to the rank and file. We already know this. They don't yet, but they are learning.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And at the same time, they're forcing, because of the fact that nothing is, they're alluding that something is happening and it's not necessarily happening the same day. It's making these people go back up onto the MSM and spout out more garbage and just not just make themselves look worse, but in some cases, implicate themselves even more.
Yep.
As I mentioned about the 90%, 10%, because they're now 90% BS. I actually know people who are dyed-in-the-wool liberals who are turning away from mainstream because they say, I just can't believe what those people say anymore.
That's good to hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it's certainly going to be a changed, dynamic in how, it already is changing in how news is being delivered, because we are the news now. And we've talked about it before, that the mainstream media has just totally abdicated in their role. It's pathetic. And I agree with Captain Liberty as well, is that, these people keep droning on and on and on and on and on. This is basically evident. This is all, fair game evidence, and that's why I said should really stop. James Baker et al. Should really stop going on these shows because they're not helping themselves.
Hey, when does Trump leave out of the country again?
Probably. When is the G20?
Well, he's supposed to leave.
He's going to England
probably
first,
about 2 weeks, because the week of D-Day week is coming up in about 2 to 3 weeks.
Right. First, he goes to England, and I would not be surprised if he didn't also jump over into France while he was so close.
Oh, I think the original plan was he was going to go to France, and then they were just waiting for a confirmation from for the state. The Queen of England had to make an official request, and then that came out. That came out after that.
What was the?
I thought he was supposed to first visit the area in England where the vast majority of the staging for D-Day was prepared. That was my understanding.
And that may be true. I just remember that he had planned to go to France, but there was talk about him going to England, and he would do it in the first part of the week. But they had to wait for the official request, and everything had to be lined up and official. So I don't know what the plan is right at this moment.
Well, I'm sure someone on chat could find out.
Jamie Paris out there says he's going to meet with the Queen in 2 weeks. So let's see if we get a confirmation on that. Today was something not brought up with the IG report? Was it not gone to the next stage here and shall be out probably next week? Or what's your guys' take on the IG report?
Well, it's imminent. It's going to drop. So I liked I70's question about when he's going to be out of the country, because that ties back into certain Q posts, doesn't it?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, for sure.
He'll come back and the world will be a new place or a different place.
The White House will be all upgraded, new carpet and everything.
Shouldn't we be keeping our eyes open for something like a school shooting or a mall disaster during the period of time when he's gone?
Well, I think we need to always be, keeping,
24/7.
I mean, we are in some very, very dangerous times that are becoming increasingly dangerous as their moves become limited and options become limited, and as they become cornered, and as people begin in mass to wake up.
Yeah, there's, in my opinion, there's been some weird or kind of things to look at that dam up in California, or I think it's Northern California. Correct me if I'm wrong there. Which there's a fire up there as well, apparently.
Damn California.
Pardon me? Yeah. Anyways, some people are saying that if that dam blows, that could be a false flag, which would change the narrative for more than a few days, probably. So we still have not heard any news about RGB, right?
I know, that is just a mystery, isn't it? What do you guys think about that? I mean, it's unbelievable how they could be pulling that off.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's, the other side here hasn't brought it up either. I mean, the president POTUS doesn't tweet about it. You don't have anybody in his, within the White House or within the Republican Party bring up it. And there's been numerous, hearings where it could have been brought up.
Coach Clay, what may happen is Nancy Pelosi giving another press conference, a la when she was talking about the wrap-up smear. She went into great detail. This is how you do it. Number 1, number 2, number 3. And then you get it out on the media. And it's like, are you kidding me? You're talking about wrap-up smear. So she may be giving maybe another press conference akin to that about RBG. Well, we do it by CGI, and we also do it by modifying, the voices and the recordings, and it's just like, oh my gosh, we're in the twilight zone.
Well, I think we figured out who we need to ask Pam to go see, and his friend in DC, the lady who's going to help him with the access. They need to go straight to Maxine Waters and start asking her those questions.
I thought the 1, 2, 3 you were just talking about was Pelosi putting together the DNC consulting staff. I think it was going to be Pelosi and AOC and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And I believe the staff was going to be named Rummies, Dummies, and Mummies or something like that.
Something along those lines, yeah. But we're in such bizarro territory, Yeah,
that has to be one of the more bizarre, weird things going on, is the disappearance of a Supreme Court justice. It's truly a disappearance. She's,
You guys know in the last 3 days that PSB has actually had negative about 18 to 19,000 views. Negative.
Right now, we have 1.2K thumbs up and only 1.129 watching. Go figure.
Yeah, but the way that does that, those people could have watched since the 5 o'clock hour and gotten off, and other people could have got on and hit the thumbs up.
Were you in on the experiment yesterday?
I did listen to it going on, yes. But tell the other fellas.
Oh, it was very revealing. I came on Freedom Rings and had this rather snarky idea. Almost everyone has more than one device that they can log in with. So I simply made the suggestion of within the next 10 minutes, go to your other device. If you're presently on a computer, log on your phone. If you're presently on your phone, log in on your computer. Let's see what happens to the numbers.
What happened?
And, well, we watched the numbers go from 1,100 and change up to about, I think, almost 1,700, then they stopped. So, we pretty well determined that there had to have been at least 50% of the people that could and should have done that, and probably more, but they only showed an increase of about a third in the numbers.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
And then when 412 suggested, okay, everybody who was on the second device, suddenly get off your second device. Go back to just one device. The numbers only dropped by about 100.
Right.
So they're jacking with them.
Yeah, it's just so laughable, really, that they think that that really has an effect overall, of this. I mean, the people that are awake, whether or not they're still looking at the channel, whether or not it's showing the number at the bottom. Some of these things that they're doing to me is just pointless. This is all that they've got, really, to projection and weak censorship.
Well, they're also trying to demoralize the movement too, because that's what Q has said is, stay together where we go one, we go all. And so it's critically important to do that, right? To stay together and to be energized, because there can be some, lag, there can be some fatigue around all of this. And then that can spawn some, what you can call intramural sparring amongst each other. But we really need to keep our eye on the ball and realize that it's so much manipulation out there that we need to have this form. It is so important to be able to be grounded in the truth and have open discussions about it. And this is a very, very dynamic form, and it's exceptionally powerful. And that's why they want to demoralize with playing around with all the numbers. And so we just need to keep moving forward with that. Can you imagine how? What our president has gone through. Can you imagine when he said that, after the Mueller report came out shortly thereafter, he said he doesn't know many that could have gone through what he went through. I mean, can you imagine even knowing the plan, which he does, right? Full well, all of the assassination attempts, all of this constant barrage, unbelievable. So we need to continue to stick together and fight the good fight here.
I totally agree with you. And if I can show you one thing here, I think this, if you're able to watch the screen, is a good example of what the deep state, the Democrats, and other people are going to feel here. And this is them on the highway to hell. See ya down the road to the highway of hell. Show you guys again. That's what
can happen if a smoker throws a cigarette into a toilet at the wrong time.
No, that's just Monday in California.
Yeah. I thought that was funny. Well, guys, it's looking like we got 4 minutes left here of the show here tonight. So we should say our regards for the weekend and catch you all again on Monday. But let's start with Deb. Deb, are you still there with us? Do you have anything left to say?
I am still here, and I just want to say Thank y'all and have a good weekend. And Coach Clay, when you were talking about the key post that said we were 1-40, I would say that we were 1-30 because if you notice, there were 10 days between the last two key posts.
Oh, good point. Good point. 1st and 30. All right.
Sounds good. Come back.
Bless you, Deb. We love you.
See you, Deb.
All righty. And let's see, next brought in was Captain Liberty. Go ahead.
Well, chat, you guys have been very, very helpful. I love it that when I make a mistake, which is frequent, you're right on top of it, and I always appreciate your input. And just remember, there is always a big difference between discussion and argument. Fortunately, most of us discuss where we actually listen to each other, whereas in an argument, all that people are thinking about is what they're going to say next, and they're not really listening. So thank you all in chat, and thank you, I70 and Coach Clay, and all of the other guests who have been here, because it is wonderful to discuss.
Alrighty. Hey, thanks you for coming out. Come back anytime. Alrighty. Drunken Pinata.
I always love these large gaps and scarce Q posts because it gives me back my daily life. And I also love it because I know that they don't need to really do any counter moves and pushing and prodding because basically they have them right where they want them. And to me, that's very calming for both reasons, for getting some rest and for understanding that the plan is moving forward. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Thank you for having me on as always, Coach Clay and I70. Clarion, take it away.
Already come back anytime, buddy.
Yeah, great point.
Clarion, it's all you, buddy.
This is like the old McLaughlin group speed round. But at any rate, SNL did great. It's on that. Oh, man. Jack Germán, played by Chris Farley. But at any rate, hey, listen, it was an extremely stressful week for me. I literally am about ready to just fall asleep, even though I'm on the road. But hey, I love you guys, and you have a great show. And scripturally, I'll say this: I think it's Hebrews 11:1. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, and the evidence of things unseen. So their prayer does work, and I always want to give a hat tip and a thank you to Pam and Radix for all they do and continuing to step up, and for all you do as hosts and all the mods and everyone in chat. Really love you guys, and God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. God bless our president, and I'll continue to declare and decree Psalm 91 for our complete administration and all the white hats in the alliance. Have a good weekend, guys.
Thank you.
Very much. Well, very well said, Clary. Great to have you on the show.
Yep, awesome.
And live chat, another great, quick go around 2-hour show here. It was awesome. It was our third show of the week, and it was great to be here again with you guys. Hope you guys are going to have a great weekend. And got good weather. Get out there outside and breathe the fresh air. Enjoy the wilderness environment out there.
And just before we hand it over, I'd like to thank Sosha for doing our pre-screening. Thank you very much. And Chris,